Hi everyone, so today we're going to be talking about inequality word problems, how to read a word problem, set up an inequality, and then solve. I didn't write down the full question, but you do have the full question in front of you on your example sheet. I did write the most important information though. So let's get started. The first question says, Ryan has a lemonade stand. He purchased $30 worth of supplies to get his business off the ground. If he charges $2 per cup of lemonade, how many cups of lemonade does Ryan have to sell to make a profit? Now, let's just talk about this really fast. To make a profit means that you're making money. You didn't break even, you didn't lose money, you made money. So in order to make money, we need to be left with some positive value of money. Let's get started on setting this equation up. So the first thing that I like to look for is this word per something. When I see that per word, that means I usually set it up as 2x. In this case, it's 2 because of this 2 right here. It's $2 per cup of lemonade, so I'm going to say 2x, where the x represents each cup of lemonade. So every cup of lemonade I sell, I make $2. That creates this 2x in my equation. Now, the other thing that I know is that I've purchased $30 worth of supplies. So if you remember, we want to make a profit. So if I've already purchased $30 worth of supplies, that means I'm down $30 already. So we want this 2x to be greater than the $30 that we've already spent. We want to make, this is what we made, this is what we spent. We want what we made to be bigger than what we spent. So now what we have to do is actually solve this. Once we have it set up, we can solve, and we've solved these several times already in this lesson. So to solve this, we want to get rid of the 2. The 2 is multiplying the x, so to get rid of it, we divide by 2 on each side. The 2's cancel out over here. We're just left with x, and then 30 divided by 2 gives me 15. So what this tells me is that x, our number of lemonade cups, has to be greater than 15 in order to make a profit. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean my answer is 15, because if I'm saying how many cups do I have to sell in order to make a profit, if I sold 15 cups, I would break even. I would make $0. I would have spent $30, I would have made $30, so I would have broken even. In order to actually make money, I would have to sell more than 15 cups. So my answer is actually 16 cups of lemonade, because I have to sell at least one more than 15 to make money. So 16 cups of lemonade. All right, let's move to the second example. The second example says, Joan has $650 in her savings account at the beginning of the summer. If she plans to spend $30 a week, how many weeks can she withdraw money if she wants to be left with at least $480 in the account? So I've written down the numbers here. We know we have $650 in your savings account. We want to spend $30 per week, and we want $480 left. So once again, I'm going to look for that per word. We know that we're spending $30 per week, which means I'm going to have a 30x somewhere in my equation. Now, in this case, it's going to be a negative 30x because we're spending $30 each week, or we're taking $30 out of our account each week. And then we want to know what we want to start with. What we've started with. So we've started with $650 in our account. We're going to take $30 out of the account each week. So this is the left side of my equation. Now the right side has to do with this 480. We know we want at least $480 left. So that tells me that I have to be, this left side has to be bigger than or equal to $480. It cannot be less than $480. This is our equation. Now we get to solve it. So to solve it, we would subtract 650 from each side, which would give us negative 170. The 650s cancel out over here, so we just left with negative 30x. Then we're going to divide each side by negative 30. The 30s cancel out over here, and we're left with 5.667 on this side and x over here. Now remember, when we divide by a negative number, which we just did, we have to flip the inequality, so it has to be less than or equal to instead of greater than or equal to. And then if you read the instructions, it tells us to round our answers to the nearest whole number, which means that 5.667 isn't our answer. We have to make it bigger, or we have to round that. Now rounding, we usually have this rule that if it's above 5 on our decimal, then we round up. If it's less than 5, we round down. In this case, though, we've got to look at the question and think about what it's asking us. So we want to have at least $480 left in our account. Now, if I round this up to 6 weeks and X is 6, that would mean that we would have spent too much money. And so what we're going to do is round it down to 5, because 5 is less than 5.667. So that means my answer is 5 weeks. I can spend for 5 weeks and then I have to stop spending. Okay, third example. So the third example says Susan goes to an amusement park with $80. Her ticket into the park costs $40 and each game she plays is $7. What is the greatest number of games Susan can play? In this example, we don't have that per week or per cup or any of that per word, but we want to look at what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out how many games we can play, and so that's kind of where our X is going to be. And we know each game is $7, so I'm going to have a 7X somewhere in our equation. Now, we know the ticket also costs $40, so I'm spending so much money. I'm spending $7 on each game, which is the 7X, plus I had to spend $40 to get into the amusement park, but I only have $80 to spend. So this number has to be less than or equal to the $80 that I have, because it can't be more than $80. I don't have more than $80. So this is our equation. Now let's solve it. So to solve it, we're going to subtract 40 from each side. We'd end up with 7X because the 40s cancel out. And then 80 minus 40 is 40. Now we're going to divide each side by 7. And we end up, the 7s cancel out. We end up with 40 divided by 7, which is 5.71. And it's less than or equal to. So X has to be less than or equal to 5.71. Now, once again, we're going to round to the nearest whole. We know that X has to be less than 5.71, so instead of rounding it up to 6 is more than 5.71, so we have to round it down to 5, which means that I can only play 5 games with the money that I have at the amusement park. Okay, last example. The hardware store makes a profit of 5 cents for every nail they sell. How many nails does the hardware store have to sell to make a profit of at least $100? So we have this per word again, per nail, so we know it's going to be 0.05x somewhere. And again, that profit, when I want to make a profit of something, that means that this has to be bigger, and in this case, wants a profit of something, so it has to be bigger than or equal to this $100. I have to make at least $100 in order for this store to be happy. So this is our equation. Now we just solve. So to solve, we're going to divide each side by 0.05. The 0.05s cancel out right here, so we have X. It's greater than or equal to 100 divided by 0.05, which gives me 2,000. So X has to be greater than or equal to 2,000. Because it's that or equal to part, we can just say it's 2,000, because if I sold 2,000 nails, I would make a profit of $100. I don't want to sell anything less than 2,000 nails, but I could sell more than 2,000 nails or equal to 2,000 nails. And there we have it. That is how you set up and solve inequality word problems.